We're live.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to Changeling the Lost, Viva Lost Vegas. This will be session 5. Before we get started, just want to let everyone know, first off, the Pugmire Kickstarter was a resounding success. So since that's over, I'm not going to be bringing it up here. But we are, Onyx Path Publishing is having a sale on Indie Press Revolution. And one of the books on sale is Changeling the Lost. So if you like the game and have been considering getting us started yourself, now's not a bad time to do it. That said, let's go ahead and jump on in. So today is June 28th, 2021. 7 days since the last time that the Motley was together. Let's go around the table, starting with Lex. What have you been doing over the past week?
All right, so we had a fair amount of time. So at first, I went to bring the mask to Lucerne and talk to Jack about the mirror face guy who was seen dealing in Royal Flush. Lucerne looked kind of surprised that we brought the mask. I'm not sure whether it was so quickly or whether it was she was concerned that we were bringing it intact. But Jack mentions that he knows about the mirror face changeling, not by name, but by face, and that he'll have him apprehended and questioned. So that one's taken care of, well-ish. And then I talked to Will about joining Winter, who was like, well, yeah, I already said that. So now I'm signed on with the Winter Court. And then I decided to start fortifying my bastion, my dream landscape. So I just kind of went in and started adding boards extra places and shoving up metal panels. I did a weird thing, kind of, and Madam Anybody has really caught my interest based on the fact that we've seen her over in Royal Flush, and she's kind of a big player in Spring, and basically she's shown us so many different faces while showing us so many different faces. So I kind of stalked her a little bit and like popped out of random places and held up a little card that said tag you're it. And she seemed really weirded out by this at first, but then she got into the spirit and showed me a few more of her faces and like tagged me, etc. So I think we've met a weird impasse there where we just seem to be getting along. I went to the Goblin Market to see if I could find a way to make memories physical, like a Polaroid or something. And I did. And Kenny has written up a token for that, which he can share. And then I did probably the most incredibly important thing I was going to do all week. And I found a kitten and I brought it into our hedge hollow to live there. And I kitten proofed the hollow.
All right, so excuse me. Kit has been kind of busy this week. So his first day that he was they had free time. Basically, he spent the day scouting around Las Vegas and finding good places with they can be used for like sniper roosts and good areas to be shooting from. Then the second day, as kind of the follow up to that, he made a path in the hedge known as a trod to be able to move around between these spots. Right now, he's only managed to connect the trod to one of the spots, but that's a work in progress. Third day, Kit was able to get a horse, thanks to the resources or the money that um, was it Jack? Uh, Jack gave us. Um, I was able to get that, and that is also been pulled into the hedge, and is now a female. Uh, so Kit has a horse now.
Hmm.
Um, let's see here. The fourth day, um, spent with Jeremy, so the guy from the um, last session, and his niece, just trying to get just hanging out with them, trying to have something of a normal interaction with people. Um, then day 5, um, Kit reached out to Agatha, the Queen of Autumn, was able to join that. She was a little annoyed with his rudeness in court from the other night, but ultimately she cares about results. So minimal pushback on that. And last day, uh, Kit took things a bit easier and spent the day once again hanging out with Kurt in the armory, who was super excited to hear that he joined the Freehold, and and pulled out some vintage Jolt Cola to play the Halo together.
And Elliot?
Well, first thing Elliot did was take a look through all the clues that we didn't have time to investigate at the end of that. The copy of Who Killed Cock Robin is heavily annotated, and it was clearly meant to be a bit of a guide for the dream that we ended up in. Would have probably been really helpful to have looked at that before we went in, especially because it notes the key for getting into the dream, which is that there weren't any lawyers, and if we came in as lawyers, we would have fit right in. So we could have made that a lot easier. The other thing was a scroll with some hedgevine tied around it. It was a threatening letter written to Mr. Gleam Serpentine and informing us that his sister Verona is, one, held somewhere, and two, only has 8 of their fingers left, and that he should get his shit in order as a result. So we're probably going to go find Verona. They're not my Verona, but you know. Anyways, I joined up Spring on the second day. Madam Anybody was pleased to add me to the group. Nobody seemed upset that I was joining. Um, on that first day, I had also fixed up the laptop that we had found, and I brought it over to Gizmo, the hacker who'd traced my phone session back. He seemed a little awkward about having done so. He gave me back my phone, took the laptop, seemed really excited about it, says he's going to get to work on it, so hopefully we'll know everything there is to know about that laptop and what information it might hold, and potentially get another lead on another bookbinder. Um, on day 4, I went and joined up with the Red Room, which is a bar just outside of Vegas. Um, I'm making some decent money. I'm between this and some purchases by XP, I'm up to resources 3, which means I should be able to financially support our group here for a little bit. On day 5, now that I'm part of Spring Court, I want to know who the major players are. The king, who is now in absentia, Linus Noct, was taken just before we got here. He was well-loved and inspirational figure, and, well, without him, everything's kind of falling apart. Madam Anybody controls the Las Vegas bar and social scene. Duke Mario De Soto is a smuggler in charge of drug running and dealing inside Las Vegas. Sister Mary Manson owns a church in the city and has a large congregation of religious celebrants in the Spring Court. And Viscount Gustav Hulder is in the art dealing world and is a master forger and apparently keeps birds. Um, this is what I know about them so far. I'm probably going to have to make some friends. Excited about that. And the last day, I decided to go into Jeremy's dreams to go harvest some glamour. While I was there, I achieved the Dream Infiltrator rank and resolved a scene while I was there, which allowed me to affect him. And I chose to get rid of his addicted condition, which should hopefully help him in the days to come. So he is no longer suffering from his addiction. And that was my downtime. I'm also back up to Glamour 9.
Alrighty, folks. And just one other thing before we dive right in. We have been doing 2-hour sessions, but given that we've been rushing a little bit, we've decided to extend them to 3 hours. I hope you guys are as excited for that as we are. So let's dive right on in. It's about sunset on June 28th. Where are you guys right now, and where are you going to get together?
I think I've been working a nice hard day over at the Red Room, and I'm just getting out of work, headed back towards home.
I'm going to be at the Hollow, hanging out, working with the horse, and so basically, I've spent the day working with the horse and also training the kitten that was brought in to be a shoulder cat.
No,
No?
no.
Okay. You don't want a cat to hang out on your shoulder?
No, I want it to walk upright.
Okay. I don't know I don't know how to train. So whatever. Trying to train the cat.
Okay.
I'll keep it vague then.
Gonna need to sit down and talk to Morgan sometime.
All right, and Kinsey?
I have been in the hollow training the kitten to walk upright.
So
we've both been working with.
all right, so I believe we were gonna go meet at court, yeah?
Yeah, sounds good.
Alrighty. So head down into the sub-basement of the Four Seasons and into the Changeling Court of Lost Vegas. The Monarchs are not currently holding court as of this moment, but like any other day, there is a good number of changelings hanging around down here going about various business, at least a good 200-300. Are you guys looking to do anything in specific in here?
Me and Kinsey, or yeah, we have similar stuff going on between the horse and the kitten. So I'm gonna see if I can track down Moggins and get advice.
That seems like a great idea. Maybe we talk him into coming and hang out by the bar. I mix some drinks to try and get him willing to talk about his methodology.
Yeah, sounds good.
Alrighty. It doesn't take too long to find Moggins. He's off by the bar teaching one of the Grimalkins in a small tuxedo to mix drinks. The Grimalkin, a gray tabby cat, is not doing it very well as of the moment. He drops the shaker twice while you're watching, but he keeps on trying. He's determined to learn. Two familiar faces are waiting on their drinks to be made by the current Grimalkin bartender. Leo, with his sword leaning against the bar, is sitting on one of the stools, and beside him, the stool moved aside, is Clara, now in a wheelchair. She's got medical boots on her legs to guard her injuries.
Awesome. Glad to see everybody. Moggins, would you like some help with that? I got something of a talent for the trade. I'd be happy to show him a couple of tricks.
Moggins nods and says, "Oh, hey lads, if you want to show him, be my guest. I've been trying to teach him, but he's a little slow to learn. It comes with the territory when you don't have thumbs."
Fair enough. All right. I'm going to. Are we wanting craftsmanship or like the showmanship here? Because I've got roles for different ones.
I reckon the best bet is to start with the craftsmanship first.
Then let's start with the craftsmanship. That's going to be dex. Uh, sorry. Presence plus crafts, I believe, is the role for mixing a drink. So
yes, but in this case, since you're teaching, you can use presence or intelligence.
All right, I'm going to use presence because I'm better at that. Meanwhile, I think you guys probably want to get some talking in with the with our new friends here and also with Moggins.
Yeah. Hey, Moggins, got some questions for you if you don't mind.
Moggins takes his attention off of the bartending Grimalkin briefly and nods and says, "What do you need, lad?"
So I got me here. I got myself a horse, and I was fixing to make him a little bit more special. I was wondering if you could give me a bit of advice on how you train up your staff, let's say.
"Well," says Moggins. He looks around for a few minutes and then says, "Most of it's a trade secret, lad, but as long as they stay in the hedge and you feed them the occasional goblin fruit, they will start to become hobgoblins. It happens all the time with mortals and mortal animals. The key is to guide the young hobgoblins' development, especially as they become more intelligent, and that's going to take some cultivation."
Okay. What would you call a hob that's a horse?
"I don't know," he says. "I chose Grimalkin as the name for what I was doing with the cats because there's a cat fairy from my homeland based so in folklore. Is there one from you come from around here, right?"
Yeah.
Well, is there a folkloric horse around here?
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah. I think I remember hearing a story about a cowboy riding a tornado or something, but nothing about a horse itself.
Well, feeling that you can name it whatever you like. You'll be your hobgoblin.
Okay. I think Kinsey had some questions for you as well.
How did you get the cats to walk upright? Was it a ballet bar? Because I'm pretty sure it was a ballet bar.
That part's usually the easy part. They start doing that on their own. Something like a bar to help them with the training is always nice, but after a couple weeks, they usually start tottering about on their back feet by themselves. Now, getting them to be able to do it in shoes, that's another question.
To be fair, I don't like to wear shoes either. So, talking. Do they talk?
Moggins falls silent on this question as well. I don't think that's something that we should be talking about. Are you attempting to Make your own Grimalkin.
Yes, I have a kitten. His name is Bob.
A number of complex emotions pass across Morgan's face. In the end, he just gives you a brief smile and nod and says, well, just keep a watch on him. Bob sounds like he's found himself a nice place to live, if that's where, if you all are keeping him.
His name is much longer, but we've just decided Bob is short enough.
All right.
At this point, Clara pipes up and says, and waves the motley towards her.
And a couple of drinks are slid down the bar towards Leo and them, between me and the cat, I assume. I got
Leo
4 successes.
Leo pounds on the bar and smiles a big, toothy, fanged lion grin. He says, look who's out of the hospital, pointing at Clara. Clara waves and says, actually, I was hoping to ask you guys for a favor if you have some time.
For you, our schedule's clear.
Well, me and Morgan's here, we're talking, and we've both got business in the Goblin Market today. I need to go visit the pawn shop. I am a trained kickboxer, but that is not going to be very helpful in this wheelchair. I need to be able to defend myself. And Morgan says that he's... what were you doing again, Morgans? Morgans pipes up and says, a friend of mine's coming into town. I'd like to meet up with him, and I think that I'm going to need a little protection.
From a friend?
Not from the friend.
Regardless, we've got your back. We're never going to let anybody hurt you on our watch.
Yeah, let's go.
So just remember, Ember, do not shake anything carbonated. If you do, it's going to explode all over your fur, and that's going to just be a mess to clean up. Sounds good?
The Grimalkin at the bar nods and meows out a handful of questions.
To which I provide the best answers I have available.
Morgans pulls aside one of the Grimalkin butlers, who nods and brings back a few other bartending Grimalkins to help the newbie with his training. As you guys head out of the basement and into Las Vegas. Clara turns around from her wheelchair and nods at you. The metal joints of her skin creaking a little, and says, so have you guys been to the Goblin Market here yet?
We've heard about it, and I gathered a few things that I was told might be valuable there, but I haven't taken a trip yet.
I've snuck in a couple times.
Well, if you know where it is, that's good, because it's fairly well hidden to make sure no mortals stumble inside by accident.
All right. Well, you lead on. Is Leo pushing the wheelchair, or would it be appropriate for me to assist with that?
Unfortunately, Leo has business with one of the other monarchs today. When asked to elaborate, he says he can't court business. So Clara is going on her own, and she has made it politely but firmly clear that she can handle her own wheelchair.
Absolutely. Just trying to be helpful.
Well, lead the way.
Clara shows you to another casino, to a casino on the Strip, a place called the Thorn Carnival. It is stylized to look like a giant circus tent done up in shades of green with leafy vines all over it. For those of you who have been in the hedge, the motif is extremely familiar, especially when you notice some translucent glass vines and thorns intertwined with the decorations. Clara points you inside, and it's not difficult to get in. She leads you down one of the hallways and into a obscure area near the basement. There is what appears to be a large changeling with horns and wearing a janitor's uniform, leaning against the wall with a mop across from a locked door. When he sees you coming, he nods and opens it. You can see that the door is opening to a hedgeway as it activates, and find yourself looking down at a spiraling staircase with uneven stairs going down, down, down deep into the depths of the earth. When you emerge from the tunnel, you find yourself in the hedge, surrounded by the glass thorns of the Las Vegas hedge. You're on a short trod. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all here. Thank you very much for raiding. You find yourself on a trod leading to a large gate. There is a small booth where a hobgoblin about twice as big as a house cat is wearing a straw hat and a red vest, handing out tickets.
All right. I suppose we head that way.
All right.
So you guys head over to the ticket taker?
I assume
Yep.
we gotta get over there as soon as we can. So let's get going.
All right, you head over there and you can see the goblin handing out tickets to changelings and other hobgoblins as they come in. Hurry, 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 says the goblin. Attend the Thorn Carnival. There are thrills, chills, and of course, commerce. The wonders of capitalism. Remember, each ticket taken is a pledge to do no harm within the carnival. No fighting, no violence, no guns, or you'll be meeting the carnival barker, and he'll be a lot less cordial than us. He scampers over where he sees you coming and says, "So will that be 5 tickets then?"
Absolutely.
Do you have a weapon check?
He points over at the booth, and another hobgoblin comes out. This one about 3 feet tall, 2 feet wide, and wearing a matching vest and hat. He puts out his hand and says, "Alrighty, everybody, any weapons that you want to get back, give them here. Any that you don't want to get back, take them with you. See how that does you."
I hand over my very large sword with a little bit of not willing to.
Hesitation?
Yeah.
Kid Kid takes his rifle off his back and holds it out and says, "Do I have your word that I'm getting this back, so long as I don't cause problems?"
The hobgoblin points towards the ticket. Read the fine print, pal. But yeah, that's the long and short of it.
All right.
If you do cause problems, read the fine print. We get to keep it.
Ain't planning on causing problems. Not going to throw away a resource like this.
So are you all going to hand over all of your weapons, or is anyone going to try to hide any?
Unless you count a bottle as a weapon, if you do, I'm just going to throw it away.
No.
Is in the fine print, is there any stipulation regarding claws and fists?
You know what? Bear with me half a second here.
This is relevant because
It is. So would you like to roll me intelligence plus academics at a -2 penalty?
can I do wits and investigation to investigate the contract?
I'll let that go by, yeah.
Be right back.
2 successes.
All right, well, that's a success. The front of the ticket looks like a standard movie or circus ticket. The back looks like it has an intricate pattern on it, but when you peer very close, that pattern is not art, but is in fact the words of a incredibly dense contract. When you read it through, it does mention that if claws are used in violence or fangs, they will be duly confiscated, along with any limbs they may be attached to.
Fun.
Okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
I would suggest you not find out if they're able to do that or how.
I have no doubt that they can. I do not want to find out how they do it though. So I'm gonna play nice.
Sounds good. I take the ticket. I don't have any weapons on me other than a bottle in case of emergency armor needed. And so I guess we walk on through. Question: does Clara have a weapon that they're handing over? I'm very curious.
Clara hands over a small pistol. When she notices that you looking as you guys head into the carnival and says, "See, that's the thing. I'm a trained kickboxer, but I'm not very good with this gun. That's part of why I'm here. I want to visit the pawn shop and see if I can get some of my uh, fighting skill transferred over into guns."
Huh?
I mean,
That's a thing they can do here?
Well, if they have any for sale, it's a pawn shop, so there's no guarantee. But there's a lot of people who are down on their luck, so maybe someone might have sold off some of his skill with guns recently. As long as I can get back in time with the fee and what I bought from the pawn shop, I should be able to swap it back.
Fair enough.
I mean, I could teach you. Like I know a thing or two about guns.
Can you teach me fast enough to be a world-class shooter in, say, 10 minutes?
I can't.
So
Talk to me later, and I'll teach you how to shoot horseback. How's that sound? Because I doubt they have that skill.
Well, that sounds interesting, but I'm not sure I'm going to be on a horse.
let's get going. Moggins, you good?
Moggins nods and says, let her get some skill first before we head off. I'm sorry, Claire. I know that we've been friends before you were taken, but I think that I'll have to ask for privacy between me and my bodyguards and my friend. Clara shrugs and says, anything for you, Muggins.
All right. Well, let's hit the pawn shop first then.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Clara knows where we're going clearly, so we're just gonna follow them. Is there a place I can cash in the stuff I grabbed for chips nearby? Nice and quick.
Yes, there is a exchange uh, where some basic human goods can be sold for small amounts of poker chips, casino chips for use in the goblin market.
All right. So I've got my stack of chips here. All right.
And yes, that's just to answer chat's question. Yeah, the contract on the back of the tickets said that if a claw or fang is used for violence, it will be confiscated along with the limbs it's attached to. So if you're a beast changeling and you can't help it, then you probably shouldn't be using your fangs or your claws on anybody, unless you would very much like to find out what counts as a attached limb for confiscation when it comes to your teeth.
Not too eager to find out myself.
Yeah. No.
Let's roll.
Yep.
Alrighty. That said, uh, Clara is able to guide you most of the way through the market, but some areas seem to befuddle her. She sighs and complains, saying that this place has changed just enough to be annoying over the past 15 years.
Fair enough. Hey, Kit, you're pretty, good at seeing stuff. Would you mind rolling us your perception roll? See if you can figure out where we're going.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to have her like describe the shop that we're going to, like what it looks like, and then I'm just going to leap up into the air and see if I can spot it.
Alrighty, if you want to do that, be my guest.
All right. What kind of dice roll do you want for that?
That sounds like Dex plus athletics.
Okay. That I can do. Let's go up. 3 successes. And hold on a sec here. Okay, now we're good. Thank you. Yeah, 3 successes.
Alrighty. Past the first few areas, which are mostly full of carnival amusements and various snack stands, you find some of the more permanent tent setups where things are bought and sold. On the very edge of it, you find a large one called Rumble Tug's Pawnbrokery. Sorry, had something in my throat there. Rumble Tug's Pawnbrokery, and you're able to guide the others on over to it. Within the tent, there is a tall, thin, wizened hobgoblin at a counter. He is reading what appears to be a highlights magazine from 1993. He looks up when he sees you and smiles a big, toothy grin. Ah, customers, he says. So, looking for anything in particular or just here to browse?
I believe our friend here was was looking for something very specific, and I motioned to her.
I'm going.
Clara, go on, you guys.
I'm gonna take a moment and browse the store while they're talking.
All right, Clara wheels over with the proprietor and begins having a conversation. Uh, are you just browsing at random, or are you looking for anything in particular?
I just want to know what they've got here beyond apparently talents,
Yeah.
which I don't know what all is available for sale here.
All right, roll me a
I'm
chance die.
personally looking in whatever glass case seems the most guarded.
All right, well, first, Elliot, roll me a chance die. And was there anything you wanted to do here, Kit?
I'm gonna see if they have any like crafting supplies, like weird things that can weird materials that can be used to make things.
A success.
All righty. And a chance die from Kinsey and Kit, too, please.
Pair of threes.
No success.
All right. So Elliot is browsing the through the shop. Like any pawn shop out in the mortal world, there is an eclectic array of junk. There is an entire rack full of weapons, each one of them tied around with a piece of hedge vine and having a little tag on it reminding you that weaponry is not to be used within the market, even if bought here. What really catches Elliot's eye, though, is a cabinet of bottles. Checking to see if any of them are liquor. Most of them do not appear to be. While there are a few bottles of various human liquors here, what really gets the blood flowing in this regard for Elliot is a number of bottles on it with names like Euphoria, College Graduation, The Night My Dog Died, and one that just says, I'm sad.
Huh.
Rumbletug sees you browsing those and peers over Claire's shoulder and says, nice choice, sir, but be careful with those. If you break any of those bottles, the emotion's going to hit you very hard. Your kind doesn't seem to have the resistance to it we have.
I'm going to look for something along the lines of despondency or general giving up. See if I can't find a bottle of I give up, essentially. Seems like a nice thing to be able to throw at someone's face.
Okay.
I can
I
mix
was
a
like,
fun
you
drink
could just
later.
use bitters.
Wow.
Alrighty.
Not
We'll
mixing
come
drinks for
back
you
to
anymore.
you. Well, I was going to say we're going to come back to you, but no need. You find a small bottle stoppered that says on its label, defeatism.
Once Clara's done talking with the man, I'm probably going to ask for a price point. But that's my shopping. What are these guys found?
All right. The other two of you. First, let's talk to Kinsey. You said that you were looking in the most heavily locked cabinet there, correct?
Correct.
All righty. So without fail, that cabinet seems to be the one that is close up to where Rumbletug himself is having the conversation with Clara. The case is locked several times over, with at least 5 locks on it of various different types. The case itself is full of various types of goblin fruits, but the one in the middle seems to be the one that Rumbletug is really concerned about, considering that it is also within a small cage within the locked case. It looks a lot like a peach, but is gold. And as you look at it, just looking at it, you can sense that it is a deeply magical item.
Don't you do it.
What is that?
What's the expression on Kinsey's face right now? Don't you do it.
So the Rumbletug looks over at you and says, "Oh, this is a special variety of amaranthine. Eating one of these can heal even the worst of injuries. Of course, for something that desirable, we're looking for a very high price."
Can you give me numbers?
He does give you a number in chips. This would require either 3 in Fey resources or 1 5-dot instance of chips, the equivalent of cash for Fey resources, in order to buy.
Okay.
We have nothing near that.
Can
So,
can I have something on me? A bullet?
I mean, if you would have probably had one on you, yes.
Okay. I'm gonna put the bullet down. Like, this bullet is from the. This bullet was in my rifle my first night of freedom. I think this should have some kind of worth to you. What can you get me for?
Rumbletug looks over at it and looks back over at Clara, and then gives her a 1 minute sign with his hands. Then comes over to you, picks up the bullet, gives it a deep sniff, pops it in his mouth, and swirls it around a few times. Then pulls it back out. Are you trying to tell me that this bullet is special to you? Because it doesn't taste special.
Okay. I'm not sure how this whole thing works, so I'm just giving it a try.
It tastes like a bullet, my good sir.
All right. Fair enough. Sorry for intruding.
Speaking of that, since Kit was looking for odds and ends to make things out of, there is a big barrel that is simply labeled miscellaneous junk, 1 chip per bucket. Looking through here, you find bits and pieces of hedge thorn, various parts of goblin beasts, and what appears to be the broken leftovers of various tokens, fizzing and sparking with glamour escaping it. These don't appear to be good for anything as per now, but perhaps you could use these to make something.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
So I think
Clara's what? Oh, go on.
so I think
Go
we
on, Jeff.
just wait for Clara's deal to get done then.
All right. So, with that being said, Clara's deal does wind to a close. She shakes hands with Rumbletug, and you see him uh, hold up two various items that look like little glass figurines. One he takes away from Clara, and one he hands to her. Uh, as she grabs the one, it disappears inside of her. You catch just a glimpse of the figurine, which looks like someone shouldering a rifle and looking through the scope. Clara gives a long blink, looks down at her hands, holds it up like it's a gun and she's aiming down the sights, and then nods and wheels on over at you. And she says, "Well, it wasn't quite what I was looking for, but better than nothing. I think I should be able to hold my own at least. And hey," she says, waving around a pink ticket, "I've got a pawn ticket good for 3 months. So if I can get my legs back and working before then I should be able to get my kickboxing skill back without any problems."
Sounds great. Just 1 second. I wanted to ask the proprietor about this little bottle before we went. I hope you don't mind a short delay.
Yeah, I guessed.
I take the bottle very carefully and wander over to show it to the proprietor, see if I can get a price point for it. Defeatism.
Rumbletug looks at it and says, "Oh, that one. That's quite a taste. A little acquired, though. Uh, I'd be careful who you give it to, and if you're going to have some yourself, I can recommend some pairings."
Would be worth knowing. What's the cost for the bottle? I don't think I've run across one like it myself.
This will require 1 dot of Fey resources or one instance of 2 dots of chips.
Don't have that on me, but I'm going to be back for this. Thank you very much.
All right. That said, the group leaves the pawnbrokery. Clara mentions that she would want to go to one of the shooting booths to try out her skills. And since Moggins has asked for privacy with the group, this works out pretty well. She breaks off at one of the shooting booths, so you know where to find her. And Moggins leads the way towards one of the farther ends of the market. After about 10 minutes of walking, the group comes to a small tent being set up on the other side of a big, old, beaten-up truck. It looks like one of the types that they use to bring things to a grocery store or something. But it probably hasn't seen professional service in about 20, 30 years. It's old, rusty, in generally bad keeping, and there is some sort of weird mural of a bunch of people going to a big black gate on the side of it. As you approach, you see a changeling affixing a sign to it. He looks like he crawled out of a grave just the other day. His skin is tight and brown and leathery. He's got on a pair of ripped jeans and a white t-shirt and a black denim vest covered in various patches and buttons. He's got patchy white hair gelled up into a mohawk, and he's wearing a pair of sunglasses. He's putting up a sign that says, "Get your nightmares here." And under it is a little boutique sign that says "Nightmares by Screamer." As soon as he sees Moggins coming, he waves you all over, looking around slyly. He waves you into the tent and puts out a sign that says, "Closed. Come again in 30 minutes."
Well, we follow in.
Did
Clearly,
we just walk in on a drug deal?
doesn't matter if we did.
Fair. Nothing in the rules saying there can't be drugs.
Listen, we're here for Moggins. If Moggins wants something done, we're getting that done. Anyways, I follow Moggins in because I am ostensibly here as his bodyguard.
Did you say the drug deal thing out loud?
But quietly.
All right. Out loud but quiet, you say?
He whispered it to me, I would assume.
Yeah, pretty much. Just kind of a lean of like, hey, like not very loud at all.
Great.
Oh, no.
All right. He doesn't appear to hear you. Right now, there's nothing much in the tent. There are some half set up cases and shelves, and a couple of chairs. He points Moggins to one of them and rushes out to get a couple of folding chairs from the back of his truck. He himself just sits on the case and grins over at you, where mostly he looks like an old mummified corpse. His teeth are very brilliant and white. The moment he starts talking, you can smell the crisp autumn air on his breath. Hey there.
So good.
Yes. Oh, you had something to say to us?
The crisp autumn air, is that part of the autumn mantle?
Yes, you immediately recognize the autumn mantle.
Okay. Thank you.
So he opens his mouth and grins and says, "Hey, yo, my old friend. How you doing, cat botherer?" Moggins gives him a smile and says, "I've been waiting for you to come back around. Do you have my package?" He waggles his eyebrows and says, "Of course I do, me old gov. Let me go get it for you. I know you got to be bothering your muggies." He heads out back, and Moggins leans back and says, "Don't worry too much about him. We go quite a bit back."
Sounds like it. He's a friend of yours, he's a friend of mine.
Screamer comes back holding a package, which he immediately sets down on the counter as he goes to leans in to give Moggins a noogie. "Quite a bit, old man," he laughs. "And you haven't told your boys anything, have you?"
To be fair, we're fairly new. Nice to meet you, Screamer.
He nods and holds out his hand for shaking. He's like,
I immediately do so. Name's Elliot.
"Well, Screamer's the best you're getting from me, Gov," he says. "In this business, in this business, it's a good idea to keep your friends close and your enemies far, far, far away. No offense, but don't know which one you are yet, Gov."
Of course. Don't know me from Adam.
Discretion is my watchword. Moggins laughs and says, sure it is. That's exactly how you got transported to Australia in the first place. He laughs and says, well, you got me there, but a man learns over the years. He does.
Okay, there's a story there.
Sounds like I need to make friends enough to you to get that story out of you. Fancy a drink
Oh,
sometime?
sure, he shrugs. You look like you've mixed something mean. Uh, as long as we ain't drinking you, though, bud.
Uh, ain't nobody ever gonna talk me into letting that stuff be on the menu ever again.
You just got back in the area, right? Should probably go.
Eh,
So good.
Yeah, I swing by usually once a year here. Stay for a season, maybe two. Uh,
All right. Well, I think we should treat this man to local delicacy. Get this man some tequila. Maybe some.
I'm sure
he,
I can
laugh,
find something he'll like.
he laughs and says, it's been a long time since I had tequila. Remember that time at that bar down in Mexico? Morgan shakes his head and says, which one? And he's like, oh, I think it was back in 86. Yeah, 86 roundabout. I I remember. Uh, I remember. That was right just a few years after the colonies started fighting Old Britain.
Oh,
Uh,
Oh, that 86.
fair enough. We've got a cowboy. Suppose it makes sense.
Oh,
well, 1886 wasn't a patch on 1786, I'll tell you.
I'm sure it wasn't.
At least not for us, he says. Right, old muggy brother? Moggins looks slightly uncomfortable with it and says, you don't have to be that open, Screamer. Is nonsense. These are friends of yours, aren't they, Moggy? Well, he looks over at you and smiles, a somewhat reluctant smile, says, yeah, of course. They've done a really good service to the Freehold recently. They brought in a loyalist.
First of many, hopefully.
Screamer claps his hands and says, for real? Morgan's been telling me that there's been lots of trouble with those blokes here the last few years. Hey, let me break out one of mine. He digs around under the counter and pulls out two bottles. One, that appears to be a fine whiskey with a old label dated sometime in the 1600s from what you can read, and a smaller label and a smaller bottle that's labeled Woodstock. He pours shots of whiskey into each of the cups and then adds a drop from the Woodstock bottle and hands them out to everyone. He's like, well, you've got to celebrate if you're hunting loyalists.
Down the hatch.
Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we may die. That's what the captain always said.
I'm going to savor this on my tongue, but down the hatch.
I don't have any context for what Woodstock is, so without batting an eye.
You know what? Fuck it. It's Kenzie. She downs it.
The drinks hit pretty hard. Morgan sips his, but looks decidedly uncomfortable. And he says, "Well, Screamer, beyond the package, I did have some business with you. Uh, since you were since you brought her up already, what I came here was to ask. Have you heard anything about the captain over the past year?" Morgan shakes his head and says, "Sorry, Gov, not a word. I checked in every port I stopped in, from Tokyo to Istanbul, but not a word of our old captain." He makes the sign of the cross very briefly and says, uh, "Hopefully, she died before they took her back to Arcadia. Or even better, she's still out there somewhere." Moggins nods and says, "I think we're the only two left of the crew." Screamer nods and says, "Aye, that we are. I've checked. I think the last of our old crewmates that I'd heard anything about died." He looks at his wrist. "Halfway through 1942. Two old friends," he says, holding up his cup and refilling it again, asking everyone else if they would like another draught.
It's too rich for my blood, but I appreciate the offer.
Never,
Well,
never refuse a toast to the fallen. Take a shot.
after the drink, Moggins wipes his hands and thanks Screamer for his hospitality and says that he'll have to be on his way. Moggins winks and nods at you guys and tells everyone that if you're looking for anything, handcrafted bespoke nightmares or otherwise, talk to your old pal Screamer and he'll see what he can do.
I'll have to hit you up sometime.
As you leave the tent, but before you go back to Clara, Moggins pulls you all aside and says, "I trust you all to keep what you've heard here quiet. Everyone at the Freehold knows that I'm old, but they don't know I'm that old."
I assumed by the fact that even an old friend of yours wasn't welcome to this meeting, but we were, that you trusted us to keep a secret that you thought was incredibly valuable, that you did not share widely. We're never going to mention this to anybody that you don't tell us to.
"Good," he says. "Screamer is a member of the Autumn Court, but doesn't have the greatest reputation among summer, winter, or spring. Uh, and he's not a member of the local Autumn Court. The first time we signed on to a freehold, we were in Great Britain."
Checks out. Uh, I have questions, but I'm sure that if you were in an answering mood, it wasn't today.
"Sorry, lad," he says, shaking his head back and forth. "Anyway, let's go back to the last. Uh, I appreciate you keeping your mouth shut. I do not want word of this getting back to Leo."
But of course. Um, before or we leave, do you happen to know somewhere I could get some clothes done? I'd like to see if I can't at least find something that might help me survive a bullet from our dear new friends. If I'm
Uh,
going to be
he
getting,
gives
if I'm going to
he
be
gives
getting,
you the
you go first.
he gives you the name of a tailor who should be able to help, but tells you that it's time consuming and you should probably come back later.
Absolutely.
Can I also ask everyone to give me a perception roll?
Delightful.
Okay, let's see here. That was wits and composure, I believe.
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you.
And you get a bonus because you're a trained observer.
Right. I get
+2.
8 place +2. I think hold on. I took the top tier one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so I think you've got 8 again, so I think you need to roll another 2 dice.
Yeah.
One success for Kenzie.
All right. So it looks like I'm sitting at 4 successes.
And 1 success for Elliot.
Looking around, the three of you feel like you're being watched. Uh, each of you are able to pick out among the crowd a handful of changelings that are innocuously leaning against stalls, browsing the wares of a goblin, but also just very subtly watching Screamer's tent. Um, a couple of them you can vaguely recognize from the Four Seasons. It looks like some folk from the Freehold are keeping an eye here.
I mentioned this fact to Moggins, perhaps tilting my head in the right sort of directions.
Yep.
I expected this much, he mutters. Let's not go by the front gates.
All right. Shouldn't be
All
a
right.
problem.
You swing by and pick up Clara, who's having a great time at a shooting gallery. I'm holding a cheap plastic toy rifle with a cork on the end. She pulls the trigger and the cork spirals out, hitting a hobgoblin that's running back and forth directly on the forehead. The hobgoblin falls down, and another identical hobgoblin takes its place on the board, running back and forth. She puts down the rifle and says, "Did your guys' secret business go well?"
Fairly mundane.
Well,
Yeah. Just took care of a couple errands. Nothing major.
Hey, why don't you show him how that's done with that rifle of yours, Kit? Know you're always bragging about being a bit of a sharpshooter.
Yeah, I have
Please don't shoot the hobgoblins with your actual rifle.
Hey, it's left.
I don't have the actual
Oh,
rifle.
right. Okay, go ahead.
I flick the chips that I've got over to him to cover his entrance fee.
Okay. So
Clara hands you the toy rifle.
okay. So I'm going to um yeah, so I'm gonna take my time, carefully aim and before I take before I take up the before I take the shot.
A small warty green hobgoblin takes his place on the booth. Uh, he's wearing a vest and a loincloth and not much else.
Yeah.
He trots out to the center, puts his thumb in each of his ears, and waggles his fingers at you, going, "Nah, nah, 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 can't hit me, Mr. Bunny Man."
Silly rabbit.
I I quirk an eyebrow, make eye contact with him, run, and and see if I can take my shot. So, Dex plus firearms, plus 3 rounds of aiming.
Alrighty, so that is a +3 then.
Okay. So that is 7. Is this considered a bolt rifle?
No, it's not one.
Okay. So that puts me at a dice pool of 10.
Roll them.
4 successes.
Okay, well, that's a success. The cork flies out and hits the hobgoblin directly in the forehead. It goes spiraling down, screaming, "I'll get you back next time," as it hits the ground. The bird-like hobgoblin manning the booth sighs and hands over your prize, which in this case, can you give me a chance die, please?
Yeah. 7. All right. No success. Roll on the die was a 7.
Mm-hmm. An ancient stuffed ET doll. As you rejoin the group, Moggins briefly curses under his breath and whispers to the three of you, "I just remembered, you lot checked your weapons. We can't be going through the back. So, change of plans. I need you to go back to the freehold with Clara. I'm going to make myself scarce."
Actually, they checked their weapons. We promised you guys that we would watch both of your backs. I'm going to make sure I've got yours. I flip a bottle in my hands, doing my best to look competent.
If you're sure, lad. Does anyone want to go with Moggins and Elliot?
Hibbs, why don't you go get your weapon from armed weapon check and then meet them around the back?
Yeah.
No, you guys need to get Clara home.
I can do that.
We'll find somewhere to meet up after we get away from here. Sound good? Then we'll head back to the freehold together.
All right. With that plan on the docket, I need Kinsey or Kit to roll me a chance die, and Elliot to do so as well.
You got it.
Got it.
You want to roll it or shall I, Kit?
Not it.
All the chance dice tonight. Lady Luck ain't my friend. That's a number 4, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a number 3 for me.
All right. That said, Kit and Kinsey are able to escort Clara out of the market, up the stairs, and back into the mortal world, into the Thorn Carnival Casino, with minimal issues. Meanwhile, Elliot and Moggins are making their way towards the back exit. On their way, something catches Elliot's eye. A squat female hobgoblin in an old patchwork dress, with a long nose and chin, is berating what appears to be a blob-like hobgoblin.
A blob goblin.
This hobgoblin seems to be made of a swirling mass of various colors of paint. Its mouth is a gaping hole that opens and closes in the gaps, and it has two eyes that appear to have been drawn on with finger paint. Sitting jauntily on his head is a tri-cornered hat. The hobgoblin berating the blob with the hat, says, "I don't even know why I employ you, Mimsatch. You don't seem to be able to handle anything." "I'm sorry, ma'am," he says. I do better, I promise. I need this job. I need it badly. Please don't fire me." She waggles her fingers and says, "Just one more try, Mimsatch. And if you screw it up again, not only will I give you the boot, but you know you're ending up in the stew as well." She heads back into her tent. The goblin looks, the blobby hobgoblin looks around despondently until it sees Elliot, at which point it seems to perk up. The blobby hobgoblin approaches Elliot and looks up at him and says, "Hello there. Do I know you?"
That's an excellent question. Do I know him, Kenny?
Roll me. Let's see. Do you have eidetic memory?
I absolutely do not.
All right. Since you don't have eidetic memory, roll me. Let's see. Intelligence plus.
Would you take streetwise?
Sure, intelligence plus streetwise.
All right, it's something. It's some dice. Okay. I'm gonna throw some willpower at this because, dang it, this sounds like it'd be interesting if I could get it right. And I've got a few of those kicking around. Hey, a success! Looks like I might remember him after all.
The hat looks exceptionally familiar. When was the last time you saw a tri-cornered hat like that?
Oh.
The blobby hobgoblin looks you up and down and says, "Wait a minute."
You ran off. This is where you ended up?
It extends two blobby pseudopods from the paint and holds them up and goes, "That's where I remember you. From the first day. It's the first thing I can remember. I remember seeing you and a bunny and a shadow girl going the other way."
Yeah, you ran off.
"I did?"
Yeah, we were trying to get you to safety and you ran off. Is this where you ended up?
"I don't rightly know," he says. The blobby hobgoblin looks between you and Moggins. "I don't remember him, but I remember you. I'm sorry, it's just most of what I remember here is in the market. As far as I remember, I was born that day about a fortnight ago. I remember Mistress told me that I traded away quite a lot in order to be able to live here, and now I work for her."
Tell you what, I'm gonna go ask a quick question. Moggins, do we have a minute?
Moggins looks at the blobby hobgoblin, mildly terrified, and says, "Sure, lad, some things take precedent."
I promise I'll hurry. I just need to get a price point on something. I wander inside and find the person who was talking to him.
The hobgoblin is sitting on a wingback chair right behind the counter. This appears to be a store that sells various types of hobgoblin art. Various little sculptures and paintings are hung up all over the tent. She says, looks at you and smiles and says, "Ah, are you here to sample my finest work?"
I actually, I had a look around the front, and there was a gentleman who greeted me at the door who seemed just like a delight. I like him a lot. Would you be willing to part with him?
"Oh, that fool Memsatch?
Yes, he seems a delight. Real ill comedic sort. I'd love to have him. Uh, would there be a price you'd be willing to part with him for?
She grins and says, "Oh, he's got quite a price, he does, but I'll warn you, he is not worth it. That poor soul isn't worth half the stuff he's traded for, and this is all that's left."
Well, you'll have to tell me. What would it take for you to part with him? I'm going to, since they don't seem too attached to them, I'm going to try and do a presence plus persuasion to see if I can negotiate a reasonable price. Would that work?
Yeah, go ahead and make a roll.
Alright, this is important. I'm not leaving anyone behind. God damn it, even the guy who thought I was a dick. So, another of my willpower pools spilling out on the floor here. Come on, Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. Oh, so close. I'm
Do you
never
have
gonna
like
get one.
do you have like a seeming benefit or anything that
Not unless
modifies
not unless I can push some alcohol across the table.
not your kith benefit, but your seeming?
I don't think elemental's gonna help here, but let me double check. Because I'm pretty sure elemental's good for violence, which was half the joke of me being really bad at it. Yeah, no, not gonna help. I'm only able to mess with glass, and I'm good with weaponry. So, yeah, afraid I don't got anything to push that over the bar.
Well, 4 successes is still pretty good. That said, the hobgoblin is definitely willing to negotiate. Um, she tells you that if you want this full Mimsach, you can buy him with either 2 dots of Fey resources, 1 4-dot instance of chips, or if you're willing to do her a favor, she'd be willing to lump you with the full.
I don't have the cash on me, but I'd be interested to hear the favor.
Well, she grins. I'd be looking for someone more competent to help me. Mimsach has been useful, even if he is a fool. But if you're going to be taking him off my hands, I'll be happy to trade him. So long as you're willing, trade him to you. So long as you're willing to find me someone else to take his place.
I'll keep that in mind. I'm gonna go see if I can scrape together either an appropriate replacement or the cash for him. Would you be willing to hang on to him for a little bit while I get that together for you?
No one else is willing to buy this thing off me, so take your time.
Just want to make sure he doesn't go in the cooking pot before I get back.
She laughs and says, "You hear that, Mimsach? This gentleman has given you a reprieve." He waves one of his pseudopods and says, "Thank you. I'll try my very best, miss. I'll work extra, extra hard. If you, since you're not going to be eating me."
You do that, Memsach. I'll be back for you. I head
She
back.
nods and says, 2 weeks, my friend. 2 weeks, and then he goes in the stew pot.
Yeah, I'll be back well before then. Thank you, miss. I head back out to Moggins and follow him out the rest of the way. My apologies about the delay, sir.
All right. So Moggins tells you that the two of you are going to sneak out through the merchant entrance. That being said, do you have stealth? I mean, yes, it's stealth. What's your dexterity? Can you give me a dexterity plus stealth roll, please?
I can give you a dexterity -1 for unskilled roll with a nice little willpower boost. Quick question for you. Do you mind if me and Moggins have been talking on the way and I'm hyping us up for our escape?
Sounds like it makes sense.
All right, I'm going to use the inspiring merit for us to try and make this a little easier to get out of here. That's presence plus persuasion at a 6. Come on, give me something. Yes! All right. So we both have the inspired... it's not tilt, but you know what I mean. Condition. To for our quest to get the fuck out of here safely. And hopefully we'll be able to call that in. Anyways, here's the roll you actually asked for. Okay, so... I'm afraid I did not pass that roll. And since I spent a willpower making the dice pool higher, I am not allowed to re-roll it. I make too many clinky noises.
So, as you make your way out of the merchant's entrance with Moggins, a handful of changelings confront you around the back. You vaguely recognize them, but the smell of sunshine and flowers on them marks them as summer court changelings. One of them steps forward and grins. Mr. Moggins, he says, can I ask what business you had with the nightmare peddler?
Quick question before we go any further here. Are we still inside the market?
No longer, no. You have passed through the gates.
The moment we passed through the gates, I smashed the bottle in my possession inside my bag, and I have pulled out a piece of glass.
Alrighty. So you've got the shard of glass in your hand.
Yep.
The changeling looks over at you. You get a good look at him. He's massive. He's an easy 7 feet tall. He's wearing a leather jacket with the summer sun symbol on the back. And he has grayish-green skin with a large circular mouth filled with rotating fangs. He looks down at the glass in your fist and says, "What are you planning to do with that? I recognize you. You're one of the ones who brought in the bookbinder."
Yep. Just here to help a friend get home. I believe we were on our way, Moggins. You were telling me you were working on showing these cats a couple of the advanced bartending techniques. I'd love to go over them with you. I just keep walking.
The big changeling lets you pass, but stops Moggins when he walks through and says, "I'm afraid you can't get past without showing me what you bought from the nightmare merchant, Moggins. You know King Leo has banned him from court. We have to see what you've got."
I pop the glass into my mouth and bite down. I quickly activate Primal Glory for free because I've just consumed some of the element. I would advise you to let my friend go, because this is going to hurt an awful lot otherwise.
Is this the one that attacks in a radius?
Yes, it is. To anyone unfriendly.
All right, the
It's
ripple
up to
of
him if he's unfriendly.
he looks down and sees the ripple of glass readying itself as the spikes jut out of your shoulders and face. He seems to think for a moment, recognizing what you're doing, before he sighs and says, "All right, Moggins, you pass this time, but I'm telling Leo, you are going to have to answer for for continuing to talk to that nightmare merchant." Moggins rolls his eyes and says, "Stuff it in your craw finger, leech." The big changeling looks at you and says, "Craw finger?" Like he's trying to figure out what he says. Moggins heads forward with you and says, "Come on, Maya, we need to get out of here."
I book it. At whatever rate of speed Moggins is moving at, I match it.
He's pretty fast for such a short guy. He leads you down a few of the paths through the hedge and into out through a hedge gate, leading into an alley in the back of the Thorn Carnival Casino.
Which I believe my friends should be waiting for me at.
Did you guys wait for him?
Yes.
All right. So in that case, they are.
Hey guys! You will not believe the night I've had.
Yeah, what do we know?
Well, first off, we got 2 weeks to get our dear friend from the painting out of Hawk. And, two, well, there's some summer folk who aren't so happy about, the meeting that was had earlier, apparently. Is that vague enough, Moggins? I'm trying to not overshare here.
Moggins nods. Bear with me a minute here. I am making a roll.
I hope you'll do us the same kindness for not mentioning the stop we've had on the way anywhere else.
So, who did you say was in Hawk?
You remember the gentleman from the painting who ran off? He found his
Yes.
way to the Goblin Market. And there's not much left of him there, but I'm not going to let him stay there. Nobody deserves that.
Clara furrows her brow, looking Moggins over up and down a few times, before seemingly giving up and saying, "Let's just head back."
Let's get going.
The trip back to Las Vegas is uneventful. Do you guys want to go back in with Moggins and Clara, or are you headed off somewhere else?
I didn't have anything else on the books tonight.
I don't want to go to court.
Do we have anything time sensitive that we need to address?
Other than the thing you guys just overheard out of character, I don't think we've got anything with a time on it.
Kenzie, can you roll me a chance die, please?
Yeah.
So let's just go into court and see what happens.
I apparently can't roll above a 3 today.
The chance dice hate us. They always hate us. There's a reason we react to them so viscerally, people at home. This is always how it goes.
It keeps things interesting.
As you guys head back down with into the court, uh, the the three of you catch sight of the Winter King Will. He's walking with a familiar changeling, that mermaid girl who had named Penelope, who had given you a dressing down about a week ago. He has one hand firmly clasped on her shoulder. He notices Kinsey and gives Penelope a push. Penelope stumbles over to the group and says, first off, the three of you, I'd like to say I'm really sorry. You brought in a bookbinder. I've been reminded that's more than I've accomplished. And she looks back at Will. Do I have to? Will nods firmly and says, and King Will says that he would like to ask you guys to meet with him in his professional context. Will nods again at Penelope. She begrudgingly hands Kinsey a business card with an address on it.
For the record,
Okay.
Penelope. Sorry. Go right
Winter
ahead.
was the mob boss, right?
Yes. Kenzie, you go right ahead. I didn't mean to step on you.
Kenzie takes the card and pulls Penelope into a hug. Except Kenzie is very small, so
For the record, Penelope, you were looking out for your people, and I don't begrudge you being suspicious of new people. If you're interested in catching bookbinders, we want to work with you. I already talked to your friend about looking up some leads on the next one. If you want to get involved, I'd love to have more people eager to hunt these guys down.
Penelope's eyes open widely. She seems to be very surprised by the hug, but gives in and gives Kinsey a hug back. As the hug breaks up and she listens to what Elliot says, you can see her breathing very hard. The gills on her neck are opening and closing in time with the rise and fall of her chest. And she nods and says, okay, a fight. That makes sense. I'm in. You look back up and Will's gone, and she says, but the king wants all of you at this meeting, if that's okay.
Absolutely. We're still waiting to hear back from Gizmo about the leads, so we'll let you know when we know what we're going on. I'm sure he'll probably be able to tell you first.
She nods and says, yeah, if he doesn't get to you first, I'll let you know.
By the way, make sure to send our regards to your other friend. I don't think I caught his name, I'm sorry, but much the same. You guys were looking out for the freehold. That's what's important. I don't care that you thought we were suspicious.
She looks vaguely embarrassed and says, thank you for your understanding. And then runs off at high speed.
I don't suppose we've managed to boost that impression at all, or are we still at average?
That impression has been boosted, yes.
Awesome.
So,
I'm making some friends. Turn all your enemies into friends. This is the way to win.
Kinsey, Kit, any thoughts?
I'm ready. I want to go see Will now. I'm already pulling out my cell phone and dialing.
I make sure that Moggins is back wherever he wants to be and that he's happy, and that whatever package he got is stowed where he wants it to be before we leave him alone, but then we're off.
I want to take a look at the business card that we were given, and see what kind of details I can glean off of it.
My God, it even has a watermark.
All right. Looking at the business card, it has in the background a sketch of a Roman bust, and it says DeMilo Waste Disposal and Sanitation Engineering with an address.
Is there a phone number or anything like that?
There is.
Yeah. Well, I guess we should get moving. Hand the card back to Kinsey.
All right. I don't remember. Do any of you have a car or any method of transport?
Kid has a horse.
I have a horse and I have a trod.
I think we're gonna be calling an Uber. I got my cell phone back. I have money.
Fair enough.
And I'm sure that we're not going to be the weirdest thing that's gotten into the back of even this specific Uber driver's car that night. Is Moggins all squared away? Is he good?
Yeah, Moggins and Clara head back into the sub-basement where court is being held. Moggins nods at you and conspiratorially holds a finger to his lips. Clara waves and smiles, doing finger guns as she heads back in.
Delightful. Well, yeah, I am so excited for this meeting. Now that our responsibilities are taken care of, I'm off. We call an Uber and we head on over.
Yeah, let's go.
Alrighty. So, the dump is a couple miles outside of Las Vegas, but you don't have to go nearly that far. The office that you're heading to is in the northeast corner of the city, heading out towards Nellis Air Force Base. This appears to be a recycling center where some of the larger things are processed before it comes out to the dump. The Uber driver shows up in about 5 minutes. This is Las Vegas. It's not hard to get one. And the journey takes about 30 minutes. By the time you get there, it's around 11 p.m. The building is mainly a couple of small trailers surrounded by large pieces of garbage, crushed automobiles, a few garbage trucks, things like that. As you walk into the gate, you can see a handful of people in suits, mostly mortals with a few changelings, keeping an eye on you. One is lounging around on the hood of a car outside front of this trailer, smoking a cigarette.
Is there anyone clearly trying to be visible among these guys?
No one is doing anything at all to attempt to hide.
Well, barring us having a very specific building to go into, I think we just find the one who looks most central and show him the card and ask if he knows where I'm expected.
You head into the trailer. You hand the mortal manning the front desk of the card. He looks up at you, vaguely baffled, before seeing Kinsey, and immediately making a move of recognition. And says, "Oh, you three. Boss said that girl would be bringing some friends here tonight. boss is out back with a few of the other guys. Uh, Dirty business tonight.
Should we wait?
Or should we head on back?
The boss says this is what you're invited for, so go on back.
Heading
Alright.
on back
Fuck
then.
yeah, let's go.
You head out into the back. This place might as well be a miniature landfill of its own. There are a lot. This is where apparently the bigger pieces of trash are crushed into smaller bits to take out to the landfill and are loaded into big garbage trucks. There's a small mountain of trash in the very back, blocking off the fence on three sides. From where you're standing, with the trailer in front and the mound of garbage behind you, nobody could see in unless they were taller than the fence, which in this area is about 10 feet tall and covered in a tarp, so it's not see-through. There is a handful of people here, all of them various types of changeling. A handful are wearing suits, others are wearing different clothing. You can see several of them smoking. Front and center is Will. He nods at Kenzie as you head over. I'm glad you made it, he says. First off, congratulations on a successful hunt. He lights a cigarette and says, I know it's not easy bringing in your first.
First of many, hopefully.
I mean, it was pretty easy.
Before we get into the business here tonight, I wanted to ask, Ms. Morgan, how are you keeping a roof over your head right about now?
Oh, well, we sold part of Jack's soul back to him, so he gave us some money to start out with.
This actually seems to surprise Will. The sculpted marble of his face, which hardly ever moves outside of when he talks, actually ripples as his eyes go wide. And he says, You all good to see Jack? How's he doing?
He's doing pretty well. He seemed happy to get the book that we found on our way out back, and I didn't feel comfortable giving that to anybody but him. Felt really weird carrying that around, to be honest.
Fair enough, he nods. Well, tell him Will says hi. See if he remembers the good old days.
I'm sure we will have reason to stop by.
I'm sure you will, he says, nodding and blinking.
So,
Anyway, what I meant here, Kenzie, what are you doing for work? Or are you still unemployed?
Oh, well, I gave Lucerne the bookbinder's mask, so I think I got a job on hunt nights, but I don't really got anything else yet to go on.
He nods and says, That I can get. Royal Flush, we're not on the best terms with the free company. I'm sure you've noticed. But at least some of them are doing some good work. So I won't say anything about any relations you might have with them unless you give me good reason.
It's a lot easier to track down bookbinders if we're welcome walking wherever we go. And, honestly, it seems like the best idea is to get rid of all of them, you know?
Good point, he says. Turning back to Kenzie, he says, What I'm getting at here is, would you like an actual job?
Oh, yeah, totally. That would be really, really nifty. I'm so down for that.
He nods and says, Sounds good to me. Are you looking for something legal or something that pays?
You know what? Let's go with something that pays because that sounds like it's a lot more fun.
He says, all right, well, you'll just be starting out, so I can't show you any favoritism, but I can, when we get a chance, I'll introduce you to the boys. I've got a few rackets that we could use some of your chutzpah on. But that being said, consider tonight your initiation, Miss Morgan, both to the Winter Court and professionally. He motions for you to follow him.
I do so easily. I, in fact, skip behind him.
I'm gonna step back and see if I can bum a cigarette off someone.
The Winter Court changelings are watching with interest. And 2 or 3 of them are more than happy to share cigarettes. Will leads Kinsey up to a makeshift stage made out of a shipping container. There is a tarp on one end. That tarp is surrounded by cinder blocks up to about knee high. So, on 3 sides. Will nods at one of the winter changelings who runs off around the side of the mountain of trash to a car. He comes back a few minutes later, manhandling a figure with a bag over its head in a pair of dull iron cuffs. You can smell the burning changeling flesh.
Okay.
The figure is marched up to the shipping container and forced onto its knees while the bag is removed from its head. Gleam serpentine blinks in the light. Will takes a deep breath and says, my fellow winter changelings and honored guests, Summer Court is a court of honor. They keep us safe. They do what needs to be done in the light. The Winter Court, we do what needs to be done in the darkness. Things that have to be done. You all know exactly how things work here. A changeling can't be bound without their consent. They can just get out of any prison they want. None of us can be bound, not since we left Arcadia. Mr. Serpentine, during our questioning, you said that our friends here, he says, pointing at Kinsey and the other 2 motley mates in the crowd, tied you up. Can you explain why you didn't escape? He coughs up some blood and states, matter-of-factly, I didn't want to get beat worse. I'd already been shot through the leg. Wills nods. So see, it's the only reason that a changeling would allow themselves to be bound is because the alternative's worse. But that means we can't have prisons. A changeling who sins against their compatriots, they get exiled from the freehold. Maybe they get exiled from Las Vegas. Maybe, if they've done some of the worst things that you can do to another changeling, and here he gives Gleam a little kick, we make sure they can't do it again. He pulls out a pistol from a hidden holster. He nods at Kinsey. This is your initiation and he was your catch. So, your choice. Do you want the honors? Or do I do my duty?
I got this.
A hand rises from the back as, this approaches. Glass, bottled hand.
I step up behind him and put his hand down. Let her do this.
No, just had a
Her-
question. Since I don't think he's going to be able to answer it after.
Will catches the short altercation and says, Mr. McCoy, did you have something to say?
Could I ask the boy a question before we finish up with matters?
Will shrugs a marble shoulder and says, sure, now or 10 seconds from now doesn't matter. And I think Mr. Serpentine here would appreciate a stay.
Hey. Gleam. Who's got your sister? I can find her. Who's got her?
He blinks at you twice and says, why do you care?
Because I'm going to take out all your friends, but there's no reason why innocents have to get hurt. You did the stupid thing. I don't think she did. You want to save her? Your last shot. Do something good with that stupid life of yours.
He seems to think about it for a minute and says, I'll tell you, if you swear to get her back safe and not to me, because I'm not going to be able to hold you to it. Swear to him, he says, nodding at Will.
I will do my best. I will get her back as safe as I can. She's already hurt, and you know that.
If you're willing to swear an oath that you'll bring her back, then I'll tell you.
Will, you mind?
Will shrugs and says, nothing wrong with the last request. I'll be the proxy.
I do so swear that we shall find her and bring her back in the best condition we're able to.
We're going to deal with the mechanics of the oath during our downtime because that's going to take a little more time than we have to deal with right now.
And I wasn't ready for this, but might as well get the information I can.
The oath sworn, a glass ring forms on your finger. Far more important than the average sealing. The oath is struck. Gleam nods. You can just about see around his gemstone eyes the shape of a bruise. Both of his eyes look as though they've been blacked, but it's hard to tell when he's got purple skin. He nods and says, the Grim Hunter's got her.
Of course he does.
Now let's do this. He kneels on the tarp.
Sorry for the interruption.
Will nods and says, by your leave, do the honors, Miss Morgan.
Kenzie stands in front of him, and because he's kneeling and she's a full size smaller than everyone, they're face to face. She's got the gun in one hand and presses a kiss to his temple with the other as she shoots underneath his jaw.
No need to roll damage for a coup de grace. Liam Serpentine's body falls down on the tarp. And the Assembled winter changelings watch silently as the gunshot rings out into the night. One of them comes to roll the body up into the tarp and throw it into the waiting back of one of the garbage trucks.
I hand Will back his gun after wiping my prints from it.
He smiles and says, "You did good, kid. What I wanted to do here is impress upon you the importance of what we do. The summer court, they can teach you how to do things the right way, but we can teach you how to do what needs to be done. If you're willing to take this and do this down to the wire, then you've got a home here."
Sometimes being safe is more important than being righteous.
"You understand," he says. He hands you a set of keys and says, "Consider this your employment bonus. By the way, you don't have to hitch a ride back to the freehold. It's parked out front."
Thanks. That Uber driver was really sketch.
So parked out front is a small, discreet four-door sedan. It's not very old, but it's not new. You'd never notice it driving out and about. It's a plain gray with beige trim.
So, does anybody else have a dot and drive? You do. Well, it's your car.
I, in fact, have a dot in every single physical skill.
Way to go. Well, I've got no reason to pry the keys from your hands, so by your leave.
Kenzie borrows everyone's coats to sit on the seat so that she can see over the steering wheel and drives them back to Lost Vegas.
Alrighty. And as everyone's driving back, can everyone give me a perception roll at a -2, please?
So, a normal perception roll for you, Tibbs.
That was wits plus composure?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This seems important, and I still have dice. Willpower! That's a success.
One success for me.
Sometimes even the big pools only get you 2.
Well, successes are successes, and that's what matters, right?
Yup.
Alrighty. As you're driving back, occasionally you catch a glimpse of a large bird flying overhead. When it cries into the darkness, you can think that you can make out a figure standing on a roof. You spot this figure a good 2 or 3 times on your drive back, each on a different rooftop each time.
Am I the only one that saw that?
No, I saw that too. Question for ya. You remember that dog, right?
Yep.
I'm getting some vibes. How loud's that rifle of yours?
I mean, it ain't quiet.
We're gonna need to find a way to get it quiet.
Yep. The spot that this guy was popping up at, um, were the locations that I scouted out this week.
We near any of
No.
them?
Okay. Are we? Yeah. Are we near any of them?
Roll me a chance die, Kit.
All right. One su- one success.
Yes.
Hey, why don't we take a quick tour around the block while you go take a look up that building over there. I think you mentioned you'd taken a look up there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna scurry on up there and get a good line of sight and see if I can spot this guy.
We're just gonna drive in a rough circle around it to let him have some rooftops he could appear at that would be in line of sight of the building. Sound good, Kenzie?
Oh, all right. Kit, since you're breaking off, Kenzie stops to let you out. Narrate your way up to your perch, please.
Okay. So I was thinking basically just going up the outside like
Fire escape?
the fire escapes with I reckon with my athletic skill I should be able to easily jump up and grab the ladder and climb up to the first floor.
Alrighty. So, where are you at right now?
Uh how much time do I have?
Right now, the others are circling the block. So, as
Okay.
much time as you need.
Okay. So I'm basically doing nothing but moving up, so I'm able to get up there fairly quickly. Um, the so once I get up to the top, I'm gonna lay down into like the stereotypical sniper position and see if I can spot the guy. And once I do, before I actually fire, of course, I want to see if I can get a good look at him through my scope.
So, as I understand it, you are simply on a roof.
Yes.
Yes.
Alrighty. So, everyone is driving, and you're looking for your mark, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, real quick question. Would Kit have been willing to let me get him a cell phone after I'd gotten a couple days in at work?
Yeah. Um, so, well,
Just wanted
we
to see
didn't.
if you have your phone on you. Do you have your phone on you?
I mean, sure.
All right, I'm gonna keep an eye out for the bird as well in case we spot him before he does.
Are you looking through your scope for the bird uh, or for the figure?
I was looking for the figure.
Okay. So you look through the scope of your rifle, looking for someone on a rooftop. So your eyes are caught by a figure. You move your scope over, and as you get close to him, you notice that the figure turns to face you. And from all the way across the street, you can feel your eyes lock. Roll composure, please.
Just flat composure.
Just flat composure.
Whew. Uh-oh.
One success.
Way to go!
And the other roll. Bear with me.
Kind of good on the whole composure thing.
Your tirade at the autumn court says otherwise.
He's not good at social composure, but like in this kind of situation, he's good. He's good.
Let's just say I've been mixing his drinks lighter since that night.
Okay.
That's not good.
Ice runs down Kit's veins. Gain the paranoid condition.
Okay.
Throwing that in chat in just a moment, everyone.
You said that was a condition?
Yes.
All right. And yeah, if you could toss that in chat so I can see the
No problem.
image. Okay. So now that I have that, now what happens?
Do you wish to make an attempt to take the shot?
What does he look like? Now that I've got a better look at him.
You see under the light a gray-haired man in a tie and sweater vest over black slacks. He's carrying a ornate wooden cane and wearing a pair of large, thick, round glasses. He maintains eye contact with you through the scope.
Okay. Perception, social dice roll. Okay. I'm going to take the aim action.
Oh,
Was that?
I just said, all right, you take the aim action. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. And as I understand it, that is a full round action.
Yes.
Indeed.
All right. Bear with me briefly. All right. As you look through the scope, the figure disappears.
Okay. I'm going to go back to searching for him again because
All right. You're looking for him through your scope again.
Can I find the bird? I believe there was a bird, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's switch to that.
Right. You raise your gun to the sky to look through the scope here.
Mm-hmm.
When suddenly you hear a voice from a few feet behind you. You wouldn't shoot a poor defenseless falcon, would you, Mr. Cotton? That would be rude.
Of course he is.
Okay. I run.
Way to call it, Polka. The sniper's greatest weakness. The guy who walks up directly behind him.
Yeah. I run and try to jump to the next building over. And because I am panicking, I am activating 7 League Leap.
Oh
Alrighty.
shit.
You leap across to the other building.
Yep. So
Bear with me a moment.
yeah, let me. Every time you do that, man. All right. Let me look up the verbiage on the 7 League Leap.
Be my guest.
Alright, so meanwhile we're just circling. We've lost track, I assume, of the bird and such, right?
Make a perception roll at a -3.
Well, that's a nasty one, but we'll make it work. Maybe.
Is this a foot chase?
Yes.
Okay. So at the 7 League Leap, basically, I make a jump roll, strength plus athletics, and I can clear 10 yards per meter. Yards per meter per dot of weird that I possess.
Alrighty.
Okay.
And that means you can clear how many meters?
Yards plus meters per. Okay. Hold on a second. The player makes a jump roll, strength plus athletics, and the character can clear a jump trajectory of 10 yards or meters per dot of weird he possesses. So this would be 10 yards.
That'll get you pretty far.
All right, and what's your speed?
Okay, so because I'm a beast, my activating this, I get a +10 to my speed, and if this is a foot chase, I get the edge.
Alrighty.
So that puts my speed to 24. So let me roll the strength plus athletics for you. Oh,
All
Jeff,
right.
and I believe Jeff had a roll in it as well.
All right, so let's do this. I'm just pulling up the chase rules.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's on page 195 for those playing along in the handbook.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so let's go ahead and set the terms here. So let's go with the default. Each party requires 5 successes to prevail.
Yep.
You've got a contract. Your contract gives you the edge, correct?
Yes.
Right. And you are now at the building across the way.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So give me a dexterity plus athletics roll, please.
Dex plus athletics. Okay.
Since we're doing a chase, yeah, go ahead. Just no modifiers, just straight roll.
Okay. And my specialty of running, does that apply?
That makes sense to me, yes.
Okay. 1 success.
Alrighty. All right. So you run to the edge of the building and across a balcony, hopping shortly over to a second building.
Okay.
All righty here. All right, looking at the parkour rating, the being chasing you looks back at you, taps his cane twice on the roof, and bursts forward at inhuman speed. So he runs forward, leaping off the building. He spreads his arms to the side as though he were attempting to take off. Let's see, dexterity, athletics, and you have the edge, so he loses 10 again.
There certainly is nothing going on in our conspiracy chat. Nothing at all.
Right. The bot that I'm using doesn't have the capacity to add bonus successes. So I'll just declare this before I hit roll. He has spent 1 willpower, and due to the advantage of the 5-dot parkour merit, that means he gets 3 automatic successes instead of 3 dice.
Fuck.
So that is 5, an exceptional success.
Remind me to pick that one up. That sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're ahead, but the entity behind you is has gained a lot of ground. He lands on the balcony that you just jumped off of and darts forward. He's carrying his cane in his hands, which you can see are in 2 white silk gloves. He looks at you, smiling slightly behind his huge glasses.
Okay.
So, all right, what are you doing next?
All right. So let's make things a bit complicated for him. I got a rifle. He doesn't. So I'm going to run and jump to the next building. When I land, spin and shoot.
So shoot blindly.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I guess basically 360 no scope,
All right.
180, but
Roll
yeah.
180 no scope.
roll me dexterity plus firearms at a -2 penalty, please.
Okay.
So,
This one, that,
have we found
this.
that bird, Kenny?
I think he is the bird.
We're going to go back to you guys briefly. Bear with me just a moment.
Take your time.
That is 3 successes.
Three successes. Okay, bear with me.
Yeah, 540 no scope. Best choice.
All right. You have 3 successes, so let's do. I'm sorry, I have a cat blocking my keyboard.
It does happen.
Yeah, it is what it is.
We thank you all for your patience while the cats are resolving their issues.
You hit lands on the next building, leaping over, and immediately turns and fires his rifle blindly. Uh, uh, Actually, since that's considering what's going on, he needs to reroll too. So, you fire blindly. The figure jumps over, following you, lifting his cane and deflecting the bullet with it. He lands on the roof across from you, uh, roughly about roughly 3 meters away. He taps the roof with his cane and walks slowly towards you. You're around.
The roof that I'm on, what is it? What does it look like?
See, you're on the roof of an apartment complex. It's covered in HVAC gear, various vents, and pieces of piping sticking out. And there's also an old one of those old net lawn chairs off by the edge of the roof.
Okay. Can I get inside?
Yeah, there is a door leading into it.
Okay. On the inside of the door there, is there perhaps one of those security mirrors or some kind of mirror?
Give me a quick chance die.
One success.
For once, it came through, everyone.
Yes, there is.
Okay. So this guy is serious shit. So I am going to get through. I'm going to activate Mirror Walk and jump through and immediately close it on this side as I pass through.
All right.
So that is going to be a dice pool of wits plus survival plus weird.
All right, go ahead.
So that is going to be a dice pool of 9.
Oh shit!
Congratulations. So the two of you dart for the door at the same time. You make it in and to the security mirror. You immediately activate your contract and get into mirror space, closing it behind you.
Mhm.
As you turn around to look, you find yourself face to face with the entity, his nose pushed up against the other side of the mirror. He smiles. His eyes meet yours, and he says, "Good show, Mr. Cotton. I must say that I am incredibly impressed at how quick you are. Let's see about your friends." And he disappears immediately in front of you. All right.
Fuck.
Elliot, Kinsey, I want you guys to roll me a chance die, please.
I'd like to state something categorical. We're clearly getting chased. Anyone could have figured that out before now, right?
Yes.
While we've been driving around, I popped a piece of glass in my mouth.
Fair enough.
So Primal Glory is up and running.
Great shards of glass appear all over the car, since it comes within a few meters of you.
Yep. Hi, Colada.
I failed. I rolled a 5.
Right, Elliot?
There we go. Got a 10.
All right. That being said, as you guys are driving,
Correct, Volka. Correct.
A huge bird swoops down from the sky. It nearly lands on the car before thinking better of it and flying back up, but not before locking eyes with Kinsey. Kinsey, can you roll your composure, please?
Just my composure?
Just your composure.
Well, I'm going to use a willpower.
For the best.
Three successes. I sneer at it and tell it to go fuck off.
You can feel ice darting down your back, but you quickly steal your resolve. Let's see. Can I also ask you to roll a 4-die clarity breaking point?
What'd you do?
4 successes.
Oh.
Congratulations on all 4 clarity damage.
Ouch.
Swing and a miss.
While you don't gain the paranoid condition, that gaze immediately cements the suspicion. A huntsman is after you. He knows where you are, and he knows what you're doing. Suddenly, you feel strange. The way that he's toying with you, this reminds you so much of the sort of things the Lord of Tales would do when he took you out of your land. The sheer cruelty of the Fae.
Hey, Kit, I think that Woodstock's still kicking around in my system. Switch with me.
I'm not Kit.
Elliot.
Elliot grabs the wheel and pushes Kenzie into the back because they're very clearly not all there at the moment.
Great. So, are you stopping the car to do that?
No, but I'll make a drive check to make it work anyways.
Do that. Make a drive check, please.
I think that's gonna be. Will you take wits or dexterity plus drive?
Either one will work for me.
I'd like to regain willpower using my needle as dynamo.
What are you doing to do that?
Bailing
Trying
out of
to
the driving
resolve a-
seat. Sorry, I'll shut up.
Trying to resolve a condition without knowing all of the facts first.
Okay, I'll allow that. So that's your thread. So I believe that's all of your willpower? Or is that just one?
No, that's my needle, so it's just the one.
Okay, just the one. Sorry, I thought you said thread. So okay, you regenerate one willpower. Have you made your drive check?
My apologies, was putting together the numbers. There we go, one success.
All right, so you're able to push Kinsey in the back and hop into the front seat and keep driving without changing anything. All right. As you speed down the road, you see someone. Stepping out of a nearby alley. A gray-haired man in glasses with a cane. He holds the cane out in front of him, pointing directly towards the windshield. Give me another drive check, please, if you would like to avoid crashing.
Question. Are you on the driver's side or the passenger side in the back, Kenzie?
I am on the floorboard.
Yes, but which side of the floor are you on?
Other side.
You're in the passenger side?
Yeah.
Damn it. Okay. Well then, I'm going to, just try and avoid hitting the gentleman in question.
I could just be behind you if you were to yell at me using a free action of speaking.
I don't think you'd get there in time. I don't have too long. And it was a stupid idea anyways. I was going to ram him. But I didn't.
Fuck yeah.
But I wanted to ram him with the passenger side, and if you're over there, I don't want you to get hurt. So that's 2 successes.
All right. You dart around in the car, just barely making it past him. You feel the car going a few inches up on its left wheels as it jukes around.
Okay.
That being said, bear with me just a moment.
So how close were we?
What do you mean?
How close were we when we passed him? How close were we?
About 3 inches.
Really? So how's that lethal damage treating him?
You see the glass ripping out from the car and across his face. He doesn't flinch, but he does take a moment to smile at you before attempting to grab the glass. He grabs the glass and you can see blood streaming out of his hand as he grabs and pulls. The car hitches briefly and starts to go to the side, listing as if it was chained to something incredibly heavy.
I'm in the back seat. Can I reach out with my handy dandy poker sword and slice at him?
If you wish.
Can I use dexterity plus larceny?
I'm not allowing larceny for this, sorry. The dexterity plus weaponry, please.
Okay. Even if I'm trying to steal his dignity?
We're not in the hedge or a dream.
Damn, okay.
Kenzie, everyone.
One success.
All right. You reach out and flail your sword through the window. It cuts into his shoulder. You can know that you pierced flesh. You can feel it, and you can see the blood on the blade and in the air. He doesn't move. Oh, and may I also say thank you very much for the bits chat. Can I ask, and I want you to be honest with me, did any of you declare whether or not you locked car doors?
I never said
did
I do,
not
but they do
declare.
automatically lock on all modern cars while you're driving.
That's fair.
I don't know a car that's been made since 2000, and you didn't say this was a really old car.
That's fair. I said that it was a few years old. Let's see. In that case, bear with me just a moment.
By the way, while all this is going on, I'm good enough to text and drive. You've received a message on your phone, Tibbs, saying Huntsman.
Do I get signal in the mirror roads?
Probably not, but I imagine by now you've gotten through them to wherever you were going.
Uh,
That makes sense to me, yes.
okay, I guess I'm back at the freehold then.
Well, good luck there.
I'm sorry,
No, just wanted to let you know that it felt like we wouldn't know if you were okay.
So,
let me think on that actually before I finalize where I popped out.
all right, we'll talk to you in a moment then. So this being said, the man in the glasses does not flinch while he's cut by the glass or the sword. Now that he has the glass from your contract in one hand, he reaches out with his cane and jams it behind the wheel as hard as he can. The car comes to an immediate, sudden stop.
So he's going through the window?
Well, he was to your right side, holding the glass on the side of the car,
Yeah, so
flipping you around.
So he's smashing his cane through the window.
No, he's smashing his cane behind one of the axles of the wheel.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant steering wheel, not car wheel.
No, car wheel.
Gotcha. Mea culpa. So what does that guy with the glasses do?
So the car comes to an immediate sudden stop. He doesn't move for a few moments as he heads over to the uh, uh, windshield to look through it. He makes a flourish and a bow. And then stands up straight and says, "My, you certainly didn't want to stop. Can I ask why you were trying to drive away so fast?"
We don't do hitchhikers here. Buzz off.
"Oh my," he says, putting one hand to his chest and waving his cane in the air. "Do you mean that I have been rude?"
Kenzie crawls underneath the seat or in between the front seats and presses with her hands on the gas pedal.
The car jumps forward. The man in the glasses jumps on top. You can see the glass go through his feet. He looks down at through the windshield, upside down as the car speeds up, and says, "Well, if I've been rude, far be it from me to impose upon you for even a second longer. You may call me the bespectacled gentleman. We shall be seeing each other again." He disappears immediately into a puff of feathers and dust.
You all right down there, Kenzie?
Kenzie has not taken her hands off of the gas pedal yet.
So, Kit, what are you up to? You've left mirror space. Where did you decide to pop up?
Okay, so I have to pop out of somewhere
You're
where
familiar with.
I'm familiar with. What? So I would have chosen the one that's
You
the
went to the
closest.
safe one.
The Four Seasons?
Yeah.
We need to get one in a briefcase for you.
Would that work?
You could also go to the safe space.
I do not believe mirror walk goes through the hedge.
It doesn't specify.
Okay, if it doesn't specify, I'll allow it if you get a mirror for there.
Oh, I didn't mean our hollow. I meant the safe space that Lucerne took us to on hunt night.
That is another hollow.
Oh, valid. Okay.
Also, I'm not sure we're welcome there.
Anyway, so you popped up where, Kit?
Kit's prey, prey instincts kicked in, and he popped out at the safest spot. So the freehold.
All right. Okay, so you pop out of the bathroom mirror in the sub basement of the Four Seasons, where the Lost Vegas freehold is.
Yeah.
Your phone would now get reception.
All right.
You receive a text message with the word huntsman.
And you get a text message that says freehold.
We're on our way.
All right. Kit, I would like you to roll me wits plus investigation with a +1 bonus, please.
Okay. Does tracking apply?
No.
Wits plus investigation. 4 successes.
All right. As you pat yourself down, checking for any injuries, you notice a strange shape in your pocket. You pull it out.
Mhm. Yeah.
A large feather has been placed gently into your pocket. It is in perfect shape. Attached to it is a business card that states, "The bespectacled gentleman cordially invites you to see him again."
And anything else, like if I flip it over or anything like that?
No, Link.
Might I recommend not keeping that on you?
I'm gonna go give this to Agatha.
That said, let's end here. All right, everyone, let's do aspirations, starting with Lex.
Okay. I have not convinced a cat to join Royal Flush. However, I am taking steps at training one. So I think I would like that to be a step.
Yes.
I learned more about guarding my dreams and have started making fortifications.
Yes.
I handed over the bookbinder mask very carefully to Lucerne.
You did. Clear that one for sure.
I'd like to take a step towards catching McMirrorface.
No need to take a step. He's been caught. Remember?
The mirror?
Yeah, you told the gentleman who we saw working with Gleam last time. We told Jack about him, and apparently that means he's been caught.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And I got initiated.
Alrighty. Jeff?
All right. So for Elliot's aspirations, we've got first off, go shopping. Success. We went to
Yes.
the Goblin Market. Find a way to survive getting shot at. I found a tailor who might be helpful with that, with Moggins' help.
Yes.
I'd like to take another mark for find out more about the bookbinders, because now we know that they're also directly associated with the huntsman, the first huntsman we met, not this new one. Um, I did not make any progress towards finding the real fake McCoy. And I think knowing who the major players in Spring are and getting a lot of stuff done for Moggins, I think that's a decent step towards becoming a major player in Spring.
So it is.
Okay.
Elliot?
And so first aspiration, get Jeremy and the kid a home. Jeff actually helped, or Elliot helped me out with that by taking care of Jeremy's addiction. That's part or a beat towards that. And I don't. I The second aspiration is name the horse. Now that I have it, and I reached out. I reached out to Morgan, see if I could get more information on proper names of horse hobs.
He did point you in some directions, so take a step for that.
Yep. Okay. Okay. I found a place where I can get some interesting materials, so I can craft that into a bespoke rifle down the line.
Yep.
With, I don't believe I made any progress towards teaching the kid how to ride a horse.
Unfortunately, no.
And I think that I made.
Wait, yes, you did. You got a horse. That is a step towards teaching.
Okay, and I've demonstrated that I know how to text on a cell phone. So that is definitely a step towards learning how to use a cell phone.
So it is. All right. So this is where we're ending for tonight. Thank you all for watching us. Remember, about the sale Onyx Path Publishing has going at Indie Press Revolution. Like I mentioned earlier, if you're enjoying Changeling and looking at maybe getting into it yourself, that's a great way to do it since it's on sale. And just to let you guys know, I know I've been mentioning Onyx Path game nights last Friday and every month, so it was this Friday for February, but it'll be back again next month. I've heard tell from Travis and a few other people there that it was a blast. So if you guys want to play yourselves, I have a link to where you can get more information about that I am dropping in chat as soon as it will let me copy and paste. There we go. Well, thanks again for watching us, and I hope you all have a good night.
Night, everybody.
Night.